This is Larry Curran. I'm here today at the Parsippany PAL for the AVGC event. We're going to take a look at some video game equipment, speak with some indie developers and vendors, and see what other video game equipment is worth taking a look at. Let's check it out. I'm here now with Chris. He's a con head with the AVGC. Chris, can you tell me a little bit about the AVGC convention itself?
AVGC is everything video games. It's in the title, you know. It sounds really good in acronyms. That's kind of like what kind of sells it for me. It's a gathering of vendors, arcade developers, console enthusiasts, arcade enthusiasts, bands. And we just have like 2 great days of celebrating all that, like all things games.
Everything game related?
Everything game related, indeed.
What's your personal favorite console?
My personal favorite is PlayStation. It's like accessible to everybody. Like it's something that I grew up on and like collected the most games on. So I wouldn't call myself a PlayStation fanboy, but it's one of those games where like, let's say it's one of those systems I can throw on a game and just like instantly remember like memories, and it picks up so fluid.
The nostalgia factor.
Totally, and it still stays relevant. So,
I don't think I ever broke a controller, but I remember being very frustrated with like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Siphon Filter, and Metal Gear Solid. But it takes me right back. Whenever I hear those names, I remember playing them for PlayStation.
Totally, and those are classics that were only on that machine. And it's one of those things where like they age in weird ways, because if you play it again, their designs are really weird, but like the whole backstory of how they got these graphics to work for Crash is amazing. The Metal Gear Solid itself was like a masterpiece at the and it still is. It's still memorable, even though some of the gameplay is outdated. But it's like you don't play it for these reasons. You play it for the combo reason, all these small factors that add up to it.
And you save them to what? A 2 megabyte memory card, 8 megabyte memory card?
8 meg one, yeah, like 10 games if you're lucky. If you got one of those like RPGs that was like 4 mega blocks, you had to turn over the back to kind of gauge how much memory and if it was worth saving. Like sport games are always out the door. Oh, I got this game, it's an RPG, I can't save, I gotta delete this sports file. All right, whatever. Goodbye roster of 1996.
So we are here, this is the console room basically.
Yeah.
So we're taking a look at a lot of equipment in this room. What exactly is it that we're experiencing? Yeah.
We're experiencing like the 80s and 90s of LAN parties, basically. Besides adult cages, that's like a whole different reason. But it's a whole room dedicated to like great games of the consoles itself. So like Sega and Super NES and PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, TurboGrafx. Especially later when you see the Steel Battalion, just gigantic games that were like fun to watch and play back then. And like it still has wow factor as you pass by these screens. And I remember the day of like going to Circuit City or Best Buy and seeing like this week's new game release, and it was on display, and you could just play it like this. You don't see this anymore. You don't see this at Walmart, like a retro game, an old Sega playing, but you'll see it here.
I am here now with Matt Luongo, and he runs the fighting tournament bracket here at the AVGC. Matt, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into this?
Well, I've always played fighting games and games in general for about 30 years, and I met some people who were involved with the scene before I was, which was back around 2000. I didn't know there were people who played competitive fighting games before, so I was very happy to be playing against people that weren't just some random stranger I met in an arcade. And then when they introduced me to what was a very young, fragile scene back around 2001, I was blown away. I was like, everybody from every town in the area was coming to play at these local events and winning money, so I thought that was great. And then the guys who ran the tournament saw that I was coming there all the time, and they asked me to start running tournaments for them. So then I started running tournaments for them all the time and started to have to take away time from my job, and it's kind of gotten to the point where now this is like a second job. So it's a lot of fun to be able to get paid to do your hobby and meet a lot of people and just enjoy the gaming. But I basically sit back now and just watch.
Beautiful.
So,
what is your personal favorite fighting game?
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and it's over 20 years old. We still play it at every event. So,
what system is that for?
that's the arcade version. So we emulate it. Yeah, I'm working on getting an actual portable arcade unit made for that, so we don't have to emulate it. But
very nice.
Yeah.
So emulation would be a computer replication of the original game?
Running software to emulate hardware to play the old games, which is becoming more and more common.
You know, it really is. And something that I'm noticing in there is just like the logistics. All of the CRT monitors to be powering up all of these old games.
Yeah.
In their optimal resolution.
Yep.
Pixel perfect, scope, color correction.
Refresh rate, yeah.
Refresh
all that has
rate.
to be
Input
taken.
lags?
Input lag is a problem. That's the main reason why I don't want to emulate anymore, because people just want to play as crisp a game as they possibly can without having to worry about saying that, oh, well, my moves weren't coming out on time. So, you know, that's the most common thing. And they still do it even with the new games. It's mostly them. It's not these monitors.
It's never the player. it's never the rider. It's the bike, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one other thing I wanted to touch on was like the logistics. So what actually happens to all of this equipment when there isn't a con? Would you happen to know?
When there's no event, I usually have about half my stuff at one venue that does weekly tournaments. It's 8 on the Break in Zanella, New Jersey. They run usually whatever the current fighting game is. Right now it's Injustice and Smash 4. So my equipment stays there, and they use it a couple times a week there, and then when I need it, I take it to a bigger event. And then I have other equipment that I have people who stream for me on my channel, which is Combat Network. That equipment stays with them until there's an event, and then they come to the event with my equipment, and we use it all here. So I get use out of everything, even when I don't have it, because it was sitting at my warehouse for a while at my job, just collecting dust, only breaking it out once every couple months. So now at least I know it's getting used. So
I have a lot of stuff sitting out in my garage that my wife is saying is collecting dust.
Yeah.
So I got to find a use for it soon.
Yep, so you can start running tournaments.
Absolutely. Is Combat Network, is that with a K?
Yes, with a K.
Is that an allusion to Mortal Kombat?
Absolutely. So,
Man,
yeah.
my parents were upset when I opened up that game on Christmas morning,
Yes.
and they saw what it actually was.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to play the first Mortal Kombat. I was like 11 when it came out, I think. And then the second one came out on the home systems when I was about 13, and I got that as a Christmas gift as well. And that was it. It was going to be in the house. It was going to be in the house, blood and all. So,
well, thank you very much for your time, Matt.
Absolutely.
And let's get back to the con. I'm here with Pat, the NES punk, author of this book. Pat, can you tell us a little bit about NES?
A little bit about the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Yes.
Why, sure. It was Nintendo's first console in North America. It helped restart the North American video game console market after the video game crash of 1983. That kind of wiped out the console market. More information about that online. Video Game Years, 1983, a show I co-produced. We did a nice historical segment about that. Crash of the arcades, crash of the consoles, whole historic lesson we won't get into now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when, I can't say I remember because I think I was really only 2 or 3.
You're a zygote.
I was a little man, and my older brother wanted an NES so bad, he couldn't get my parents to pull the trigger. He created one out of paper, and he would make a flip book to play Super Mario Brothers in our living room so that my parents would see how much he wanted it.
Wow, that's dedication.
It is.
Wow.
Yes. So one of the biggest questions I have here, and I think that it might be relevant for perhaps any mothers cleaning out their basement, getting rid of their kids' stuff, what would be some video games that they should not quite toss in the garbage just yet?
They shouldn't toss any game in the garbage. Give them to me, or sell them to a video game store, mom and pop store, digital press. Not too far from here, for example, one of the best retro game stores in the U.S., in my opinion. There's tons of people that love retro video games. Prices have skyrocketed in the past 4 or 5 years, so we don't want to see any thrown in the garbage. We want to preserve all the Super Mario Brothers, all the Duck Hunt games, all the Metroids, All the Legend of Zeldas. Don't throw out any of them, Mom, Dad, Grandma. Don't throw them out. No, none of them.
All the original
Please.
controllers, all
No,
the
don't throw
original
'em out.
wires.
Give them away to someone. Give them to a thrift shop, Goodwill, Salvation Army. Don't throw them out.
Put them on Facebook Moms or something. Try and get some
Yeah.
money for them.
Get some scratch for it, and you have someone, you know, looking back. Oh, I wish I had the console my mom threw out 20 years ago. Someone else's mom will give them a console back. It's symmetry. It's a circle of life. I don't know.
Is that from The Lion King?
Yeah, I guess. I don't want to sing it.
And so here's your book, The Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the NES Library, 85 to 95.
Yes.
How much does that thing weigh?
Over 6 pounds. So most babies, this could outweigh. You know.
Very nice. And so would there be any pages in here that you would want to draw anyone's particular attention to? Just a personal favorite blip from this?
A lot of words in here. It's every NES game reviewed. So do I have a personal favorite? I have lots of favorites on the NES. It's over 800 games on the system, all detailed in this fine, highly crafted piece of literature.
You did all those reviews yourself?
I did the chunk of them. I had a team of writers that helped with the rest, and I had an editor. So I kickstarted this in 2015. It came out a year ago. This was the first convention last year where it was sold at. So go to ultimatnes.com for more information or to order. I stuck that in there.
Very nice. Are you on Facebook and Instagram?
Not Instagram.
No Instagram.
That's why I'm officially too old. No Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. Pat the NES Punk on Twitter or on Facebook. You can find me.
Pat, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
con. I'm here with Lawrence and Camille of Goodnight Games, and I want to talk to them for a moment about their path to success here. We'll just figure it out as we go.
We're running with it.
We're running with
Yeah.
it. Lawrence, can you tell me a little bit about Goodnight Games?
So Goodnight Games is an indie studio. We're from North Jersey, up in Rutherford. We make mobile games, which don't have any ads, don't have any in-app purchases, and we're weird, we're kooky, we make all cool stuff.
Some of my favorite things. So can you list a couple of the names of your games for us?
Sure. Well, here we got Malevolent Machines, we got Ernie vs. Evil, and we have Plunder Kings. So everything from shoot 'em ups meet gambling to zombie murder.
All of the best of the best. And Lawrence, what is your background in development?
Oh, so I'm just I bounce all over. So I do art, I do code, I do sound a little bit. Camille does like all programming and all that technical stuff that I can't handle at all.
I just try to design like the blueprints of the game and then like deal with the art assets and everything.
Are you guys the entire team of Goodnight Games?
Oh, there's 8 of us.
8 of you.
Yep.
And you are based in North Jersey. Is that Bergen?
Yeah, Bergen County. Yep.
Do you guys have like a shop, or are you working out of a garage like how Apple started up?
We may or may not borrow office space from a local college that I won't name.
Feel free to give them a plug.
Yeah, shout out to NYIT that we don't borrow your office space.
With or without their knowledge.
There, so
Yeah, so we have the in.
fine.
Very nice. And what got you into development?
Well, just quit my job, hated it, and then just decided I'm gonna make video games. And then ran into Camille, and here we are. We're just making
Yeah, I was
stuff.
a student in a game design course I took for extra credit, and I was looking for like internships, so it kind of clicked it, and just started making games from there.
And here you are.
Yeah, here we are.
So now we're here at the AVG convention as well. How did you guys get brought into this convention? Did you enter where you sought out?
Well, the guy who runs it, Paul, he's in the same group of friends that I'm in. So like that came about, and then the call went out for people in the indie development community. We're like, hell yeah, New Jersey represent. Here we are.
Absolutely. An opportunity for you to return back to the good old town of Parsippany.
Yeah, I still live here though.
Yeah, he's like, we're across the street.
Down the street.
Short commute.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much. And
thank you.
I implore everyone, go check out Goodnight Games. And is it available in the App Store?
Yep, all our games available now, whole $2, no in-app purchases, no nothing. And support the Larry Fund right here.
Larry and Lawrence. And also make sure to support developers that are making games for gamers and not trying to push the bottom line, not trying to make in-app purchases, and they're focusing on making games for entertainment, not just for money. This is for gamers, by gamers, right?
Damn right.
Yep.
I'm here with Darius from Gamers Heaven, and we are taking a look at some VR at the moment. So Darius, what can you tell us about your demo we have over here?
So our first station is our PlayStation VR demo, running on the newer PlayStation Pro. It is a great start for anybody looking to get into VR by itself. Then beside that, we have the HTC Vive sit-down experience. With that guy, right now we sadly can't do it because of the sound quality, but we had a horror experience where you are just experiencing the room that you're in with a lot of noises and a full 360 view.
Wow.
And then we have our full immersive HTC Vive where it is probably a 5x5 room that you are able to walk around in. And it brings the full immersion on a 1-to-1 scale with the controller. So you reach out, you know exactly what you're reaching for.
It actually sounds kind of terrifying.
It is, especially because a lot of people, when we take the headset off of them, they just get, it's jarring to them. And they're like, oh wait, I'm back.
I'm back. So now I see we got a couple of different consoles. You have the PS4 Pro.
Yep.
Is that more optimal for the VR experience?
Absolutely, because the original PS4 design, it didn't have the capabilities of putting full 30 FPS to the VR headset, which under 30 frames per second, you start to get motion sickness really easily.
I bet.
It's bad experiences. But that's why we made sure to get the PlayStation Pro so we can bring the most optimal experience possible.
Absolutely. The game that we're taking a look at right now is Until Dawn, Rush of Blood?
Rush of Blood.
And was that just released?
It was released the time that the VR headset was released. It's part of their demo disc. So we're just running the demo here, but at our home store, because we run a gaming lounge, we actually have the full game, which is an on-rail shooter, kind of like, you know, It's a Small World at Disneyland, or one of the point shooters that you can go at amusement parks.
So a rail shooter would be almost equivalent of like Star Fox 64, right?
Basically, yeah.
You're on the track and you're moving through. You can control laterally up and down, but you know the whole time you're moving forward. And
this one, you're only controlling the movement of your hands and your sight.
Very nice.
Yep.
As far as the immersive experience goes, I have seen some big fails on the internet.
Yeah.
Have you experienced any of those in person?
No, once. So there was one. So our store owner, he was filming a Let's Play for a demo called Sisters. He does not like horror. And at one point, a jump scare happens to where there's video on YouTube of him falling and the headset falling off of his head. We were very scared that the HTC Vive broke. It's a $700 headset, and it was the only one we had.
Was the headset okay?
Yes.
Slightly less importantly, was your boss okay?
His dignity was broken, but that's what YouTube's for, right?
Exactly.
That's why he shouldn't have been a YouTuber first.
That's why we like to highlight those things that happen and make sure that we capture them.
Absolutely.
So, any recommendations for anybody just looking to get their feet wet? Maybe experience VR, perhaps before purchasing something?
So, depends on the kind of experience they're looking for. If they want a full immersive where they're interacting, then I would say you should start with the PlayStation VR, or even behind us we have Microsoft with their Oculus. That's going to be the cheapest base model to get into, at least with the PlayStation VR. If you have a PlayStation at all, you'll still be able to try it out and use it. Whereas with like the HTC Vive or the Oculus, you need a little bit of a higher end computer that you can either custom build or buy. So that factor has to come in line.
Absolutely, but you know, VR is the next frontier. I think everybody's gravitating towards it, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on some of that hardware as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Darius. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Good luck with your booth over here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. So far, it's pretty good.
I'm here today with Matt from Kingdom Bash. It is a co-op PC game. And Matt, can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea for this game?
Yeah, so me and my buddy used to play a lot of Halo, and it was like local multiplayer, and they dropped that in the newer version. So we got really tired of that. Like, hey dude, you want to play a game? You go home and I'll go home. That's so cheesy to me. So
it's the only way to avoid screen watching, though.
Right. Well, that's why I started making this game. with it being a single screen, there's no worry of that, I guess, really.
Are we looking at a competitive game? Are we looking at a cooperative game?
Both.
Both.
So you can choose to work together against monsters and eventually a quest mode that I'm working on right now. Or you can ruin your friendship by playing versus. So it's all there.
Little friendly fire?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah. It actually takes more work to make it not friendly fire. So I've just refused to make that code happen yet.
As a developer?
Yeah.
What is your background?
I'm a full-time web developer, and I do this in my spare time. I started with this software called GameMaker Studio, GameMaker, back in high school when I was ignoring my calculus teacher. Sorry, Mark Lego. And I kind of stopped during college, and I came back after seeing Hotline Miami, Spelunky, Gunpoint, all these great games coming out for GameMaker Studio. So I joined the fray again, and this is the result.
Excellent. What was like the actual inspiration for the characters and the design? It looks like it's got a little bit of a Bomberman feel to it.
Yeah, Bomberman. The art style I definitely attribute to A Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda. I want to like get a large number of influences. The gameplay is largely influenced from Towerfall, which is another big, awesome indie game made from another Matt, and I hope Senpai notices me one day. But yeah, there's a lot of influences in it, and there's more to come. I just keep adding more and more to it.
And what's the best way to go about acquiring Kingdom Bash?
Right, so I have it up on my website, matthewstock.com or kingdombash.com. I have up there the link to itch.io, which is where the demo is. I have a pay what you want demo, and just trying to get it out there. Have people play it, have pizza and beer nights just like me and my buddies do, and have a good time.
The world needs a few more games just like this. Please keep on doing what you're doing. This has been Larry coming to you from the AVGC event in Parsippany at the PAL. Obviously, this was just the tip of the iceberg. There was so much more to this convention than we were able to cover. But I want to say thank you to all the vendors and all of the different developers. Keep doing what you guys are doing. And for all of our audience out there, I want to really invite you to come out next year and really take advantage of this event. For all the gamers, if you're into cons, this is really the bread and butter. So come on out. Hope to see you next year.